Welcome to the Joy of the Hang. We're Sharon and Lauren, two self-proclaimed badass 50-something besties, and we're so glad you're here. This is a place where we dive into the beautiful and sometimes hilarious journey of aging and all the connections that keep us thriving. Think of it as a cozy chat with your best friend over a glass of wine, where we celebrate the wisdom that comes with experience and embrace the quirks of our bodies. Let's talk about sex, ladies. You have our permission to love it, hate it, embrace your freaky side. Whatever, we're here for it. Each week, we'll share stories and plenty of laughs as we explore what it means to live our best lives no matter our age. So come hang out with us. You're in the right place. Let's get started on this joyful journey together. Lauren?
Sharon. Come on, everyone has to say that. You can't think of the name Sharon without thinking of Sharon Osbourne. So my name is Lauren, otherwise known as of lately as Davis Rose Mom or Boots, thanks to TikTok. We would love to have you hang out with us as we talk about everything, what it means to be a woman, whether you're 20, 40, 60, 80. You deserve to be heard. You have something to offer. You matter. Whatever you think matters. Your opinions matter. There are so many opportunities and potential to learn from what you've done and to imagine what you can still become. Our podcast is going to explore all the infinite awesomeness of women and give us all who hang the courage to be ourselves and to just, as I like to say, a quote from Logan Roy from Succession, a big, bold, fuck off, this is me. And let me be clear, when we're having a cocktail as we're doing this little chat, the glass definitely has a stem. What do you think of that, Sharon? Would you ever have a cocktail without a stem?
Let me think of that. Maybe a cold beer. No? Would that be an exception?
Yeah, I guess that would be an exception, although I happen to be partial to no surprise to the beer glasses that have the name of the beer on them that you're drinking. But
yeah,
yes, I used to be a huge Guinness drinker, and Guinness glasses do not have stems.
No, I know. Are you a little bougie, maybe?
I think I'm a lot.
Are you a little bougie?
I think I'm a lot bougie. It's just not the same. You get a glass of wine, you get a martini, it needs to have a stem. And in fact, I take it one step further and I like white wine. I like my Pinot Grigio, but I am very polite and I ask the bartender for the largest glass that they have and to serve my Pinot Grigio in that. Usually it's a red wine glass, but I like the biggest glass they have. I think it smells better. It looks better. I feel fancier drinking it.
Okay, well, people can't see you, but you are sitting across from me wearing a trucker hat with tigers on them. And I am sitting here thinking, all right, I guess we're not going to see Lauren opening up a can of PBR and sitting by a bonfire, drinking it straight from the can. And that surprises me about you.
Let's be clear. I can hang with the best of them. I can certainly do a dive bar, that's for sure. But at least I own the fact that I like things being a little fancier.
Love that. I love that about you. Well, Happy New Year.
Thanks, Sharon. Happy New Year to you, too.
Cheers. So we just got back from a 4-day cruise to the Bahamas. We left out of Fort Lauderdale with 8 other couples, some of our closest friends.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting dynamic when you're with friends that you generally see every weekend, but it's totally different when you go away with those same friends and you see them 24/7 almost for 4 straight days. It's a little different. You got to be prepared.
Yeah. Well, we all still get along, so that was the good news, right?
We do, and I believe when we ended the trip, we all talked about when we would go on the next trip, so that's always a good sign.
True. Yeah. I would love to hear from other people who have gone on trips with other couples and hear how that went for them, right? Especially like a cruise, which, like I think you said at one point, felt like a traveling hotel. So it was hard to get away.
You feel like you're a little stuck on top of each other somewhat. I mean, I joked, but it's not really a joke, that before we left for the cruise, I wanted all of you guys to sign non-disclosure agreements. I mean, people joke all the time about what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but I think, you're on vacation, you're a little looser, a little freer, you're probably having a drink at maybe 11:30 in the morning and throughout the day, and you really don't want someone keeping tabs on your coming and going and how many drinks you have during the day.
I know, but we're going to tear up those non-disclosure agreements because we're going to talk about some shit.
We're definitely talking about some of that shit.
We will. We'll talk about it on the next episode, so stay tuned. All right. But first, we want to talk a little bit about how we met.
Sure, let's definitely talk about that.
Let's talk about it. How did we meet, Lauren?
We definitely met for the first time at F45 in downtown Sarasota. We both like to work out. We both place importance on keeping fit, being in shape. Certainly, we both like to dress a certain way. So we put in the effort to get a hard workout in. And I believe what made you first come over to me and say, hey, is I had on my ripped up, tattered Harvard sweatshirt, and you walked over and said, hey, my daughter goes to Harvard. And I kind of joked, so does mine. I'm not just wearing the slutty sweatshirt. I have a daughter that goes to Harvard.
Well, that was part of it. Plus, I like girls in slutty sweatshirts. So there was that.
Oh, thanks. Aww. And I actually did Google it. I actually Googled slutty Harvard sweatshirt, and I believe it popped up on Poshmark. So some girl had taken, a pair of scissors and sassed it up a bit, and that's how I like my fashion.
All right. It's one of my favorite things about Lauren. Her fashion is unbelievable. So hopefully we can start adding some video to these so you can actually see how she dresses, because she looks fabulous.
Definitely have to add in some fashion, and we'll have to make sure to show all of Sharon's tulle dresses with her fancy high heels. So
I do love my heels.
You do. You go out like that during the middle of the day. I mean, you came back the other day from like a Target run, and I saw some, dare I say, a little boobage like popping out. You had your heels on. I was impressed.
All right, so full confession. So I'm from Maine, and we have many, many snowstorms, right, in Maine. And my girlfriends used to tease me, and they're like, your snow boots have heels on them. Like, you cannot even snow plow your driveway without wearing heels.
That's funny. They call mine rain boots because I wear the thigh-high patent heels when it's raining out.
Yeah.
And I jokingly call them my rain boots because they protect my legs from getting wet, and it's patent leather, so the rain just kind of bounces off them. It's a great way to have a dual purpose.
Exactly. And I'm 5'3" tall, and I always felt like I was vertically challenged. So it's important to me. I don't feel comfortable in flats.
I don't either. And sometimes people have a hard time understanding that. I think it's great that people like to wear flats. My twin sister has not met of recently a pair of sneakers that she doesn't love. She's amassing for her actually quite a collection as of late, but I just prefer to go out in heels. I mean, I even do the J-Lo thing where I'm wearing sweatpants with high heels or sweatpants with high-heeled boots. And, I was just flipping through old pictures and came across one of me in my Hooters tracksuit and heels.
I love that.
Love that.
I love that.
I love that Hooters tracksuit.
Can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see that. So when we first came up with the idea for this podcast, Lauren gave me a card, which I'm looking at right now. It's over there hanging on our vision board. Anyway, it says, chasing our dreams in 6-inch stilettos. And that describes us to a T, I think.
I think you can do everything in stilettos. And it's funny because a lot of people, put their outfit on and then they decide what shoes are going to go with it. And my husband would attest to this. I first decide what shoes I want to wear, whether they're boots or heels, and I put them on. So I'm totally naked wearing heels or boots and figuring out the outfit around my shoe. And to that note, I also tailor my pants slightly shorter than they should be. The tailor always tells me, it should be like a half inch or inch longer, but I like to be able to see more of the shoe. So I would rather run the risk of having slight floods, as they call them, than not being able to see my shoe. What's the point of wearing a beautiful piece of art that I believe these heels are if you can't really see them?
Yeah, speaking of shoes, we just went to a Wine, Women, and Shoes event just a couple of months ago. And we'll talk more about this later too, but I have to bring up the shoes. So Lauren, I think they had what was called a Super Bowl at the end, where they selected, 5 or 6 women out of the attendees to come to the final Super Bowl. And I think, so anyway, out of those 400 plus women, Lauren and I were both chosen to walk the catwalk in our beautiful shoes. And Lauren had on the most amazing tall boots that were blinged out, ruby red, right? All like a cutout floral pattern. And she should have won the whole thing, honestly, because she looked like fire. But anyway, somebody else won, but just by a hair, because Lauren was right there with her. So you looked fabulous.
That event was so fun. You looked fabulous too. Sharon had on those cool shoes that sort of look like you're walking on just your tippy toes because they're sort of no heel. They were really cool. I love those boots I have. They're red crystal. Sharon and I got to walk the runway. I have never, ever in my 53 years, Sharon, been so glad that I had panties on. Because I was all ready to leave the house. I was wearing as my dress a coat that I belted as a dress. I love to do that. I swear to God, you can go to any Goodwill secondhand store, buy either an oversized blazer or any type of coat, belt it with a cool belt and shoes, and make it fabulous. And so mine was really long. I wasn't going to wear any panties on underneath. And that would have been a huge mistake as I was up high walking the runway and sort of shimmying and doing a little dance. So I just want to give a shout out to my husband who, right before I left, said, honey, you might want to wear some panties.
Yeah.
So thanks, honey.
You owned the catwalk. That was a lot of fun. And if you actually look at our logo, that photo on our logo came from that day, from Wine, Women, and Shoes. So, it was a lot of fun.
That was a great day, and it's a great cause. They raised, like $420-some thousand for 40 carats, which helps support lots of family causes, women causes, helps women who need help with their children or postpartum, or families who need childcare. It's really, really a great thing that they do. And, sometimes when you love fashion and you like drinking and you like hanging out with your friends, it's nice to take the time to think of other people besides yourself and give back. It's important.
It is, since the event itself turns into an all-day shit show.
It kind of is a shit show.
It's kind of a shit show.
I'm going to agree with that. So we're going to talk a little more about how we, after we met.
Yes, let's talk about that. So we met at F45, and it was right around the 4th of July. I think it was right before. And you had said something to the effect of being new to the area. And so I said I was having a 4th of July party at the house and invited you to come along to meet a group of friends that I thought you would really get along with. And you, much to my surprise, said, sure, we'll come. And I hadn't met your husband yet. And I remember you walked in the front door. And again, you were wearing this amazing, Lauren likes tulle too, by the way, amazing red tulle top. And I can't remember, but I'm sure you had on amazing heels as well. And just immediately, fell into the group. So what'd you think of it?
Yeah, so I we did not know anyone. You and Scott were literally the only people we knew at that party. But I, enjoy that. I like to meet new people. I've always liked to meet new people, make new friends. But, it's a little intimidating. You walk into this ginormous, beautiful home in Bird Key on the water, just decked out to the nines and people all over, and you don't know anyone. So it can be a little intimidating. I tend to be pretty confident, but when you walk into a party and you don't know anyone and you're new to an area, and you certainly want to give the best first impression so that you actually get invited back and make new friends.
Yes, and you've been invited back several times. I think you did make a lot of good friends.
We did, and I'd like to talk about that party, how I just mentioned what a beautiful home it is, and it's a very large home. And I do believe that a group of us spent a disproportional amount of time taking photos in the bathroom that day, which I'm still trying to remember why we thought it would be fun to take pictures in the shower in a bathtub, 5 women squeezing in to take selfies and pictures in a bathroom when you have a beautiful home on the water in Sarasota.
I think part of the answer is that it's a one-word answer, and the answer is Mary. So she came in with us, and she takes photos everywhere and all the time. So I don't know, at some point we were like, okay, let's just pose here. And you did something called the sorority squat, which, I didn't know what that was. I had to ask my Harvard daughter about that term.
I did, and it's not a good thing. You really don't want to do the sorority squat. The sorority squat is when you sort of get real low, sort of Frogger position, and it lends itself to not making you look that attractive in the photo because it's an awkward position. You're like crouching down. It's uncomfortable. I wasn't in a sorority either. My daughter was, but I think it got its name from a group of, a gaggle of girls all together, and they can't fit into the photo. So you always have to have some people sort of squat uncomfortably, oddly down so that they can fit in the picture.
Right. Do you think it's that uncommon for 50-plus-year-old women to be in a bathroom photo like that?
I think it's uncommon for 20-something-year-old women to be doing a photo shoot in
a tub. It's a small tub, too. It's not like it's this big, elaborate tub. The house itself is big. The tub is not. We had a limited amount of space for the tub. So it's not like we had this massive tub that we all jumped into.
Yeah, and I think the night certainly progressed from there. If I do recall, I believe that my husband and I did an Irish goodbye, which is a pretty smart thing to do when you're meeting people for the first time and you feel that you're, spending a lot of time talking to everyone, drinking a few drinks more than you normally would because maybe you're nervous and being chatty. So I definitely recall that we did the Irish goodbye so that I would be invited back.
Yes, and we have invited you back several times. And the Irish goodbye, it's so interesting to see your friend group, like the people that do the Irish goodbye and the people that you have to kick out at 1 a.m. Like everyone's different, and you know who's going to be the late hanger-oners, right?
Well, it is interesting sometimes when people can't take a hint. You sort of yawn or, maybe mention that, you can even be direct and mention you're tired and they still stay. We've always done the Irish goodbye. We make sure someone knows that we're leaving, but, there's certainly rules. I like to call it girl code. If you're out with a group of, girls, you don't leave anyone behind. You make sure that everybody has a safe ride, that everyone's okay. You never, ever leave without making sure that someone knows, because you could be worried that where's your friend? Where'd they go? It's sort of like a girl code thing. You don't leave anyone behind.
Well, and I also think, you should share locations, right? And we're getting a little serious, but I think we should share locations with each other. So I know my daughter shares her location with her friend group at school. So everybody knows.
Although that can be a little funny because Cindy started sharing her location with me, and it was an accident. She had hit something on her phone. So every time she was anywhere near my house, it would mention like, oh, Cindy's here, Cindy's there.
Oh, that's funny.
And I was like, why does this keep popping up on my phone? But she had clicked something on her phone.
Oh, that's funny. Why do I care where Cindy is?
Yeah, I don't need to know if Cindy is driving by my house at 3:00 on a Monday. But so finally I texted her and said, hey, did you click something on your phone that is attached to, my phone in terms of your location? Because literally I keep getting multiple notifications every day that you're somewhere near me.
That's so funny.
So funny.
That's so funny. So back to how we met. So again, she was wearing her Harvard sweatshirt. I have a daughter at Harvard. She also had a daughter at Harvard. So that was our first connection. How did your daughter get into Harvard?
She, worked her butt off. She spent a lot of time, studying and focusing on getting to an Ivy League, and that's what she wanted. And we had never placed importance on going to a certain kind of school. I think it's bullshit when parents do that. I think what's important is in life, you need to think, do you want to go to a big school, a small school, or are you looking to go somewhere warm or cold? Do you want something more in a city or something outside the city? I mean, I think you got to find the right school for you. It's like after college, when you're looking to move somewhere, get a job, maybe you want to find somewhere where your friends are. I didn't want a car. I moved to a city. So, and I have 3 kids, so they're all different. They all needed something different. I mean, pregnant 3 times.
And to look at her, you'd never think she had a child ever. You're
Please. That's because
such great shape.
That's because I have a good surgeon.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. I'm a boob girl. I've always been a boob girl, and
nothing wrong with that.
I had my boobs done, and I'm not shy about admitting it. I had them done twice. Had them done 20 years ago, and then just had them done again, and I'm really, really happy.
So this is interesting. So I had mine done as well, and my daughter just brought this up a couple weeks ago. It was so funny. So she's 23. So we had this long conversation because I really struggled with it. It wasn't like I really wanted them to start with. And I said, for me, it wasn't a confidence issue. Like I've always felt very confident and attractive. And so it wasn't that. I really, truly wanted to be more proportionate. I wanted to look good in a bathing suit. I think that was, and that might sound shallow, but I really, really wanted just to have a better figure overall, so I felt good about myself. But it wasn't like I looked in the mirror and was like, oh my God, I can't. Because my ex-husband, I've been married and divorced and now remarried. My ex-husband used to say that they were fine. I mean, he said they fit in a champagne glass and that's all you need. That was his quote. So he didn't want me to have them done, and I didn't have them done until after my divorce. So I was 45 before I had it done.
Which is better. I don't think you ever want a guy telling you need to have it done, your partner, your husband, boyfriend, what have you. And I don't think it's necessarily a confidence thing. I mean, I don't think anyone who knows me would say that you would do something like that because I wasn't confident before. I had a severe skin issue. I had a lift at the same time. I would do it all again. You can't work out skin in a gym to make it tighter. And I care how I look, and I like to have really good boobs, and I am totally comfortable putting out into the world for everyone to know that I wanted to have, perfect boobs. So that's why I had it done. I had it done twice. I do it again. I mean, hey, pregnancy changes your body.
Right.
And not all of us like the changes. I mean, I get it, how some women say, oh, well, these stretch marks, they remind me that I had my kid, and I love my kids, but I don't need stretch marks or my body being beaten up to be reminded how much I love my kids. It's just,
right.
And I am not shy about saying I've had it done, and I think it's anybody who wants to have it done should have it done.
Right.
The pregnancy thing is weird, Sharon, though, don't you think? Like, I was thinking about that the other day, being pregnant. Like, obviously, I'm with my husband. My, dad knows that we're having sex. But when you walk in pregnant, it's like a huge sign. Like, yes, he, your son-in-law put his penis in your daughter's vagina and she is now pregnant. Like,
Right.
It's so kind of in your face that you had sex. It's funny.
Well, yeah, that's usually the way it happens, unless you're the Virgin Mary, in which case.
Yeah, but can you imagine, like, think of oral sex, blowjobs. Can you imagine if you got, like, blue lips when you gave your boyfriend or your husband a blowjob? And then you walked in to see, your parents or your in-laws and you had blue lips.
Oh, my God, that would be horrifying, wouldn't it be?
Can you imagine?
Oh, my God. And you have
like
two daughters and I have one. I don't want to see blue lips. I don't want to know.
Everybody would know. It's kind of funny if you think about it.
Yeah, that's true. But every time you have sex, you don't get pregnant. So, right.
You don't, but it's just so in your face. And I think it's funny that that's like, okay, but, giving head or giving a blowjob isn't. That would be really embarrassing. It's funny. You think about it.
It would be embarrassing. You would wear it all over your face, literally. Literally. That would be bad. That would be bad. So let me ask you, what do you say to people when they ask you where your child got into school?
Oh, I am not shy. I say Harvard right away. I mean, after she got in, we would be, out to dinner and the waiter would ask me what I wanted to drink. And I would say, my daughter got into Harvard. And the waiter would look at me very nicely and say, that's great, but I was wondering what cocktail you might like tonight. I just was very excited for her because it was all that she wanted. She struggled socially in school. She was too nerdy for the athletes, too athletic for the nerds. And this was her sort of way of being like, fuck you to everyone. I made it. It's all been worth it. So as a parent, that's, rewarding to see your kid work hard for something and be really happy is great.
I love that. Is she your oldest?
She is, and she just turned 24. Her birthday is on New Year's Eve. How fun to have a birthday on New Year's Eve.
I know. Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. I think we're coming to the end of this episode. So, do you have some advice based on what we talked about that you would give your younger self?
I always have advice that I would give my younger self. One, in terms of thinking of, say, plastic surgery, I would tell myself, oh my gosh, love the body that you have. Love how it works for you and not be so concerned with what you don't have. Just enjoy your youth for all that it is. And that would probably be my main thing that I would tell myself, just be happy where I am at that point in my life instead of spending so much time thinking of how much better everything could be. I mean, definitely if you want to be happy in life, if you're always thinking that, you're going to be happier at some point if you look like this, you grow 2 inches, you get boobs, you get a boyfriend. If you're always thinking into the future of something that's going to make you happy, you're never really going to be happy.
Yeah, that's great advice. And mine would be dare to stand out rather than try to fit in. I think that's really important. I think of our friend group, and everybody is so unique and different. And I saw a lot of that on the cruise, which we're going to talk about in the next episode. But I just think it's really important, especially when you're younger and you're struggling to try to fit in with these different groups. Just be true to yourself. And it's a lot more gratifying as you get older to stand out, be you, and not try to fit in with everybody else.
And that, I think, is wonderful. And we're going to talk a lot about that later on in our episodes about wanting to stand out and the whole jealousy thing with women, because it's huge. It happens all of the time and it has to stop. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about women being jealous of other women and how much that sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. On that note, everybody, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Peace out.
Peace out.